Friends, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to cover why your clients come back with so many changes on your website. And I'm going to show you 3 ways exactly how to fix this so that your projects could be smoother and faster. Now, we all know what it's like to go back and forth with a client a bunch of times. And in the beginning, honestly, that is just part of the process. As you go through it, try to streamline it. Make sure it's just 2 revisions, not 20 revisions. That way you don't end up with 700 emails and I don't end up with 700 emails. That's why I tell the clients, let's try to make this as smooth as possible. But at the same time, if you're a beginning designer, you're still learning. Even if you've studied UI, UX, even if you studied in school, you're designing your first client sites, you're learning a lot about the practicality of website design. And so in that, great job. But there are going to be a few things that are really going to make sure you take it to the next level and that you eliminate a lot of back and forth. Now, we're going to break down the 3 right now, but I do have to say this. Sometimes the one anomaly in all of this is just difficult clients. There is such thing as difficult clients, and you have to vet that, and you'll be able to vet that with the way they respond to you. If you send them the first site and they're really upset, that's fair. But if you do some revisions and they're still really upset and you really believe you follow their instructions to the best of your ability, that's a red flag or a yellow flag. And if that just continues, or they're like shouting at you or getting really difficult or demanding, or their expectations are going through the roof and it's getting unhealthy, well, that's just a difficult client. So that's kind of its own case. You either want to cancel that project, refund the client, and move on with your life, because that's just going to stay difficult. But there are clients who push you because of these 3 issues I'm going to talk about now. Number 1, this is probably the biggest one that's overlooked and that needs to be addressed before you even start, which is inspiration. You need to start with a clear place of inspiration with you and the client. What the client says versus what you say could literally match, but the actual design style they're talking about can be different. So the words we're using sound exactly the same: modern website, fresh feel, simple. But what they think is simple versus what you think is simple can be 2 completely different things. So the best way to solve that, whether you're a photographer, website designer, or any creative, the best way to solve that is that you get actual examples in front of you of what the client likes. And I recommend live websites. I don't recommend things like Behance, because some of that is just prototyping and it's just not realistic. You want real live websites. So you want to find inspiration from the internet, go online, look and search for websites. You want the client to do this. If they're having trouble finding sites, you probably want to point them into 2 or 3 inspiration sites that you know. One of my favorites is Landbook. I don't recommend it if you're doing Squarespace sites to send that to a client, because those sites are really advanced. But you want to find sites that you could send to the client and say, hey, what do you think about these? What do you think about these? Or have them search. If they're not finding anything, push them into a direction where they can. But overall, you need to start with clear inspiration. If you don't know where you're headed, would you ever hop on that plane? No. So you want to make sure you know exactly where you're headed. You would never hop on a plane that you don't know where the destination is. In this case, you want to make it as clear as possible. But if you have a clear destination, there's 2 other problems that you will run into that need to get solved. And this is point number 2. You need consistency across your pages. If, for example, on the home page, you place a huge banner image, and then on the about page, you place a huge banner image as the header of the page. And then the contact page, you don't. And then they have another page of like services and you don't. That is inconsistent on the website. Whether or not the page necessarily needs a banner image is not the point. But consistency across the site is a better look than inconsistency. So I remember when I learned this was one of the most valuable lessons. This was one of those times I was going back and forth with the client a ton. And what they were saying was fair. But the challenges that I was facing was just an inconsistent website. Yes, I designed all the pages. Yes, I added all the content to the pages. But let me show you an example of what I mean by consistency, even when you're designing and it might not make sense. So here we are on one of my clients' sites. When we built this, the process was easy, smooth, simple, because on the home page, we have this video intro. The about page, we have a video intro. residencies, we have it, listings, we have it. But let's just talk about something like a site plan page or contact page. Let's just talk about it for a moment. So when I come to this contact page, does it really need this photo? In some cases, it doesn't. It could just go directly down to this contact info here or directly into the form. So the page could almost just start like this. But this is a little bit inconsistent. If I go to site plan, same thing. This is literally just an iframe that shows up on the page. It's really well built. You can click into it, learn more about the actual properties. It's really nice. But does it need a header image? Not necessarily. But the reason we have it is it makes the site consistent. And I'm telling you, consciously or subconsciously, clients notice that. If a site feels inconsistent, it feels like you decorated the bedroom one way, the living room another way, the bathroom another way, clients can feel that. And so you want to do whatever you can to make it all consistent. And a simple thing like a header image on every single page does that. Now, at the end of the day, there are a few anomalies to this. This is not one-stop solution. So for the homepage, there's a video. The other pages don't need videos. For the homepage, if it was a banner slideshow and the other pages were just an image, that's okay. If in a case that the client just really wants the contact page to not have it, that's okay as well. But if you deliver a project with consistency like this, again, this image doesn't really do a lot. This little bit of text doesn't really do a lot. But what it does do is it gives consistency. It's also a bit helpful for SEO in the sense that this is H1 and it says site plan here. That's great. Contact page is the same exact thing. Those things really help just a bit. They're not huge, but they help just enough. Now, if you have clear inspiration, you started the project and you have consistency across your site, you now need to think about number 3. This one's so important and can get so confusing so quickly. You need to get really good understanding fonts and colors. And I don't know if there's a shortcut to this, but there are some ways that you could really speed this up and make this process smooth and simple. And honestly, Squarespace has made this really easy to be consistent across the whole site and make it beautiful. So here I am, I'm on a demo website. So the fonts and everything are kind of everywhere, but let me show you how I think about this. When it comes to fonts, depending on the company, the brand, what they're going for, if it's a consultant or they're just trying to be really strong or bold, I'm gonna go for a sans serif. So let's go to switch and then go to sans serif here. Something that doesn't have all those little like gifs or whatever they call it at the end of the letters. I'm gonna go for something that's strong. Work Sans is a great font. Haulyard Display, that's a great font. Anything that's like a wide extended font is really like over branded. So if they're really trying to be unique or creative, you could use something like that, but I'd stay away from it. This could work really well. Pragmatic, whatever this is, extended is okay. Poppins I love, but I feel Squarespace has like quote unquote ruined it in some ways because all their sites come with that natively, and so a lot of sites are just showing up with Poppins natively because the user doesn't change it, which is okay actually because it's a beautiful font. But as a web developer, I try to make them just a little bit more unique. This font is great. Simple, clear, easy. I would not overthink this. So let me select this one and let's just kind of see how it looks. Cool, so I'm taking a look at the page here. It's honestly so easy to read and beautiful. I might adjust it a little bit so this is like a little bit bolder or things like that, but for the most part, this is really clear. It's really nice, it's simple, and all the formatting that Squarespace has already done with the font sizes and everything is great. So just don't overthink it. Also, I recommend never changing your base size lower than 15 pixels. You might do 14 if the font itself is just really big, but legibility, readability is so important. So you make it small and cool. A lot of interior designers do this. I love you guys, but it's hard to read. And if it's hard to read, the user will not read it. So if you're trying to really get information in front of people, don't make it difficult to read. Keep it simple. So fonts are really easy. Next, let's look at colors. When it comes to colors, the way I usually do a palette is like this. And I'm just gonna show you high level how I think about it, and we'll go from there. Okay, so I have this green that is my main color. So what I'll do is I'll select the middle one and then paste that color in. Let's do that. Perfect, that is my main color. But what I'll do from there is go to from color, and then choose most likely this one or this one. Actually, maybe even, I think these are the same, but one of these that really connects. Complementary is kind of like random. I don't know, those colors are a little random to me, but you can already see here, this is beautiful. literally I just added one color and it's already, this is gorgeous. What it was a minute ago was completely different. This is gorgeous. If you don't have that main color yet, if the client says like, I like blue, I would go to a tool like Coolors and then try to play around with this as much as possible to kind of get a feel for cool colors. Something you could do is just start the generator and let's just pick one. Cool. So what I would do for this generator here is I would come in here and then I would lock this. I do full black, full white. And then in the middle here, I'm going to add the color I have. And then I'm going to lock this and then just start to play around and kind of see what comes up. These are doing like complementary colors almost. So maybe not ideal because I'd be looking for another green. Another option here is to go into the tool here and click this little box, view shades, and then you can see other versions of the color that you might like. Also, another option here I know with Coolors is that you could explore trending palettes. A lot of this is kind of overkill. You don't need 20 colors. You literally need one main color and you go from there. You come in here and just find a value. So if we're looking for green, we'll go for that. Once I'm in here, I'll start to look and see if any of these match. Like I kind of like this green. It's really this like forest green. It's beautiful. These are really nice shades of green. Maybe I like this for the whole site. This one again looks really nice. There are a lot of different things here. Maybe they want more of a neon green, so you have examples here to look at and pull from and go from there. But once you find that main color, you add it in the center, and then from there you can make adjustments accordingly. So this one's cool. It's like a very light pale green, which actually looks really nice on this section. And then this is like a darker green. Now, the next level advanced setup of this is that you actually choose a different color here, so it has a whole nother feel, but it's still dark color, so it still would fall in this realm. So this is like a really different color. Let's see here, maybe the purple would work, and the purple and green, I don't know, like that's a lot. Again, I would really try to stay with one color, but you have a very clear palette to start with, which is beautiful. And then also too, the best part, keep it simple, don't overthink it. Start just like this with one main color, and then at the end of the project you could start to customize it further. The thing that I am trying to emphasize at this last point is they give you these 10 styles here. So what you could do later is go to like, this is dark 2. So for dark 2, I can do something like this. So for the section background, I could go to custom, and then I could go to something that is like more of a purple that I think could work. And then for that specific theme color, this one itself would just have that purple background, which would be a nice accent in certain parts of the website. Also here, this light 1 and light 2, what I end up doing here sometimes is for like light 2, I'll go in here and I'll change all the headings to just be black again. So all of this will just go back to black, but then I'll change the section background to just be a gray, because sometimes having just a gray background, it's like not branded. It gives a bit of visible difference as you go through sections, where it doesn't have to be different colors all the time, but it gives a good break. So let's see if I have any gray here. I don't. Doesn't look like it. So yeah, I can't show it on the page, but it's nice to find a nice gray there. And then again, just have all these be full black. Yeah, you might need to change some other things later, but as a starter, that's a great spot. And then if this, like, you might have to go through these as well. It's a little bit of work, but truly it gives you a bit of flexibility. So now you actually have like 7 section backgrounds. You have the white, you have light green, you have light gray, you have white with this like bright greens on the color. You also have bright 2, which is like the green background. Then you have a dark green background. Then you have a purple background. Then you have black. So you have a lot more options this way, which is pretty cool. And I mean, I literally just showed you my whole process, and what, this was maybe 5 minutes of the video while I explained it. I tried to do this whole part in less than 15 minutes. It should not take 3 hours. And I know when I started building sites, it used to take a lot of time. But to the point of this video, why your client has so many changes is because these things are inconsistent. Find a consistency that makes sense for the client, and make sure that if you start with clear inspiration, you're gonna know what kind of fonts they like immediately. You're gonna know how they like to use colors. You're gonna know how they like to use the structure of the site. You're gonna know how they want sections built out, and honestly duplicate it to the best of your ability. Obviously it's unique to your client, your site, but just make it feel almost as if it's the same exact site that is for your client. Because if I showed you this as inspiration, I would imagine I want in the header, an image on the right with text on the left and a button down here at the left. And if I really like this page, I probably want the blog to look something like this. And so anything you could do to bring that to life is going to be so valuable for you, save you a lot of time, save you a lot of back and forth, not have to run through headaches. And if you're still there, you're still building your first 10 websites or 20 websites, that will happen. So almost embrace that part of the process because it's going to make you better. But these 3 things really help me speed up that process, and I hope it does the same for you. Now, with that said, if you got value from this video, you could like it, subscribe, all of that. But there's one thing that you should know. We have a coaching and mentoring program that if you're landing $2,000 to say $4,000 projects and you're trying to go to, let's say, $4,000 to $8,000 projects, we have a coaching program that is built literally just for you. So if you built at least 10 websites and you're landing projects around that range and you're trying to double your rate, double your rate in the next 3 months, definitely check out the coaching program down below. With that, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.